Hi and welcome to the Zoe Marley channel, the #1 place for aspiring authors to learn the art of how to tell their story. In today's video, we are going to be talking about the difference between plotting and pantsing. So very quickly, let me tell you the difference between the two, which I suspect you already know. Plotting is where you outline an entire novel. Pantsing is where you just decide what to write the moment you start typing. Now there is a huge battle between which one is better, and both have perks, both have weaknesses, but here I am to tell you, to give you my unpopular opinion that it doesn't have to be black and white. It does not have to be plot or pants. It can be a little bit of both. So let's just tackle the elephant in the room, shall we? I'm a pantser. I lean more that way. And here's a sign that I knew I was a pantser. When I was in high school and my teachers made us write a paper, and before we had to write this super long paper, our teachers made us do like flashcards and outlines and the structure of it. Bah humbug. Not me. So I spent the entire night writing all 20-page research paper just so I could write the outline and do the flashcard thingies. It was horrible. And I did this every single time. I would just stare at my paper and I knew like 1, 2, 3, right? I knew there's the beginning, the middle, and the end. But actually knowing what I was really going to write for every single sentence, every single point, I just didn't know. And so I just started. And it always worked out for me. Now that attitude of, well, it just always worked out for me, sucked when it came to writing novels. I told you, I've written books in the past. All of them flopped. That's okay. I think that's a part of the experience. My very first one, I pantsed the entire thing through. I was extremely proud. I was like 15 or 16, and I thought I was about to become the next J.K. Rowling, because who doesn't? I relentlessly worked on my query letter and I sent it out to my favorite agents, and all of them came back with surprisingly a very real response, and all of them said it sucked. I was completely heartbroken and I vowed to never write again. That lasted a whole 6 months because for some reason I just can't help it. Writing is who I am. But I was gonna do better. Incoming book 2, I plotted that whole sucker down. Every little detail I plotted. I spent like a year plotting this. Lo and behold, by like chapter 6 or 7, my main character gave me the middle finger and did what he wanted to. Rude. But it was so amazing that I didn't want to cut the scene because I really liked what he ended up doing. It was who he was, and it was better than what I had written down originally during my outline that took me a year. As Winnie the Pooh would say, oh bother. That's really how I felt. Like I had put all of that work into it, and then I started writing, and then something better came out and I didn't know what to do. Technically book 3, but it was the second one in that trilogy. And I had learned my characters very well by this point. I had already written an entire novel based off of these characters. And so I wasn't going to mess up my plotting this time. I did. This time I got to like chapter 10 though, so progress. The last book in my trilogy. Totally planned it. And unlike having chapter 11 or chapter 12, I made it to chapter 3. So I knew there had to be something better, right? Neither option really worked for me. And so I'm going to tell you that a lot of it just had to do with my lack of experience. I was an avid reader. I read so many books and I had the general gist of a story. I knew how to create tension and add drama. I had that. But I didn't understand the fundamentals of writing a story. I didn't understand story structure. I didn't understand story beats. I didn't understand character arcs. These are all very important things to really not just, oh, I have a general idea, but to know. So one reason I started a YouTube series is I had some very specific questions about my story, and I wasn't able to find a YouTuber that dug deep into the weeds about these topics. And it was really frustrating because I felt like it was like 5 tips how to do an entire novel, because that's all you need to know. And so yes, my Right Now or Never series is going to be a long 50 video series. But I want to give as much information as I've learned. I have spent 5 years doing nothing but studying every inch of every book. I have gone through novels that I absolutely love, and I wanted to dissect how the author did it. I needed to learn just the simple fundamental things. And so in my video series, I'm going to be teaching you these fundamental things. If this is something you're interested in, hit subscribe, ring my bell. Let's do this journey together. But I digress. If you want to know more about plotting, I'm going to go deep into plotting. If you want to know more about pantsing, sit down at a computer and start typing. I can't tell you much more than that. Go discover your world, and you can't go discover your world unless you're in front of a keyboard typing it. Hey, but you said there's this like gray middle, but I think I might be in the middle of these things. Yeah, let me tell you about it. So this middle that I found for myself, I absolutely adore. Now you have to realize I now know the beats, I now know the story structures, I have a mental checklist of what I need to get done by part 1, by part 2, by the end. And I really just studied these techniques. So here are my suggestions. 1, you have to have the idea of your novel. That's called the spark. I'll link my video here. Once you have an idea, you have to start fleshing out your world. Create your setting. Video here. Then you have to start creating your characters. Video here. Once you have all of this started, start writing. Once you have all of these kind of figured out, you have this image board where you know your setting and your characters and your general idea, you know the novel you want to write. Video here. Now you got to think about your theme, you got to think about your genre, you got to think about plots and subplots. You got to think about the point of view you're going to use. But now it's time to start planning. And that is all of the pre-planning that I hope you do. I suggest once you get the foundation cemented, sit down and write. Right now or never. I'm gonna say it 100 times from this point forward. Go right now or never. Go make time right now. This is the best way to really start digging into pantsing. And once you've written your first 5,000 words, I want you to pause, and then I want you to come back to my videos. I want you to learn about Act 1, about beat sheets. I want you to see all of these things. I want you to learn all of these things after you've done a little bit of writing. From there, we're going to go into what your first sentence should look like, what your first chapter should look like, what you need to do by Act 1. We're going to really start putting the puzzle together. But I personally do not believe you're really going to get a good feel for any of this until you just got something written. Your first chapter is probably going to go through the most editing of any chapter in your book. Your first chapter is going to determine whether or not readers want to read your book. It's going to determine if a literary agent even bothers with you. It determines so much. And so these 5,000 words that I'm asking you to write right now, realize this isn't going to be your first chapter. Realize this is not going to be all of the pressure that you have on your shoulders. I just want you to write and get your feet muddy. Get to know your characters. Maybe something interesting happens. Just do a little something. Consider it a writing exercise more than starting your novel. And once you get it done, let's start your novel. All right, so if you got value from this video, smash that like button. If this is your first time seeing me, my name is Zoe Marley, and I am here to help aspiring authors learn the art of how to tell their story. I will be doing this through 50 videos. I am committed to bringing you these videos to give you tips and techniques to improve your writing. So if you're interested, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and come follow me on my other platforms. Everything can be found in the description below. Thank you so much.